Okay, introduce yourself to me.
My name is Clifford Eiffler.
Okay?
Yeah.
How did you get stuck in?
Well, I didn't find soccer in the usual way. I didn't grow up playing. I didn't watch it. I worked for Parks and Recreation departments, and we played sports with kids, and soccer was often one of those that was the most accessible for everyone. And you didn't have to have a lot of skills. I mean, there were kids who were good, but everyone got to kick the ball, and in doing so, I kind of found something that was really neat. I've always loved sports, and obviously had been exposed to soccer World Cups and everything like that. But when I got the chance to play it for the first time myself, I started just going down the path that brought me here. I had a roommate who asked me to join his intramural team, and he just needed a body. And what I found there was, sweaty hot gym with a bunch of guys who were very passionate about a game that I didn't understand yet, but something got me, and so I started trying to find as many different ways to consume soccer, whether it was Champions League or just listening to podcasts. And I knew of the Timbers, but I was a poor college student. They don't take free PSU football tickets at Timbers games, so that was something that kind of stayed in the back of my mind. And it wasn't until I moved away from Oregon that didn't really have access to soccer anymore that there was more of a yearning. And so as soon as I got back, I started going to Timbers games. I started saving my money, and it was like nothing I'd ever experienced. I'd been to sporting events, but this was different, and people cared. I didn't quite get it, but there was something special. And it wasn't until the Open Cup that I started getting why. I think it was the 2009 Open Cup. I didn't actually get to go, but they broadcast it on TV. And having gone to a couple games, that same energy was even palpable through the TV. I think that was the one where like the tifo was Timber Jim cutting down the Space Needle, but I got to show that in a living room full of friends, and I thought that was something special to share with them. And so we got a little group that started going to games a little more often when we could. And then it was the next year that I found myself on a bus for the first time, and we drove up to Kitsap for the 2010 Open Cup. And it felt like we were under siege. We were in enemy territory, and it was kind of goofy because we played at their high school field. So we had little kids walking by and taunting us, and the Timbers won. I can remember the smoke hanging on the field as we were right behind the goal, and we scored. So we got we popped some smoke. But that meant we got to host Seattle, and they had just moved up to MLS, and it was electric. I mean, our stadium was full, like never before. And I knew that we had a chance. I mean, everything had been building up towards this, and we lost. We lost in PKs, even worse. And that was the first time my heart broke for the Timbers. And at that point, I knew that there was no other club for me. Like, I was done. You could bring me all the Liverpools of the world. You can bring me all the Liga MX teams, and I'd say my club is PTFC. But I wouldn't say I was stuck in. I was still going to games. I had my group, but I didn't know anyone else around me, and everyone seemed to some degree have a community there and have a reason to be there in addition to the club and the game. And it wasn't until I started playing and I found out that there was the TFC league and we had open play. And I'd been trying to play more and more soccer because for me, soccer was a pretty simple game in that when you stepped on the field, you didn't have to be a superstar. You didn't have to have amazing skills. It would just, you could learn as you go and get better and progress. And as you started to understand the flow of the game, you could make a difference and really just improve upon your own self. And so I started going to those open plays, and I didn't know anyone. And so I started asking because I heard they had a league and I wanted to play. And there was one team, at the time they were called Guerreros Verdes FC. Now they're Bridge City. And they were looking for a center back, and they asked me if I played center back. And of course I said, yes, I did. And they said, okay, well, we'll give you a tryout. You know, I was like, sure, I'll show up to a tryout. And I think I played the worst soccer I'd ever played in my life. Like, I don't play great soccer to begin with, but that was objectively probably the worst. And I remember just leaving the field thinking I had blown my shot to play with these guys. And so, you know, I stopped at Five Guys for some sadness fries and sadness burgers, and one of their players, he happened to stop by there, and, you know, he was really encouraging, and, you know, just thanks for coming out. And you know, that felt nice after such what I felt like a disastrous result. But, you know, a week later they gave me a call and they said, you know, there's a spot for you if you want it. And honestly, I think they just needed a guy who would show up every week and pay, and that's most organized teams do. If you can show up and pay, you're in. And so then I started playing in the league and meeting people that I would see in the stands, and it was just an amazing transformation because I had found a community that I knew existed, but I didn't know how to get to be a part of it. And so a couple years we play, and, you know, I'm looking for more opportunities to play, and the organizers behind the league put together the very first Winter Classic. And, you know, I think Twitter was the thing that brought us together in terms of we found the most random team of people, and people who had never kicked a soccer ball, people who had played in the past but were coming back, and we formed the most motley crew, and we got dusted in that tournament. I mean, objectively dusted, but we had so much fun that we decided just to continue to play, to continue to find opportunities. We started pickup, then we formed a futsal team, and from there it just kind of cascaded. And to this day, the growth from that original group has been amazing. But more importantly, I found my people. I found people who want to play. And beyond that, I found people who want to find other opportunities and create and develop opportunities for other people to play. Because I think every time we step onto the field, we feel the same thing that, you know, the players we get to see week in and week out feel. The same passion. You know, when they kiss that badge, we understand why. And so we want to find opportunities for people to play. And that fits with everything that we, both as the Timbers Armies, as the Riveters, that's everything we idealize and hope for. You don't have to play soccer. That was my way to get in. But, you know, we have TIFO, we have folks who stuff envelopes for memberships. But that's because we have found a community in which everyone is welcome. And more importantly, once you're in, we want you to keep reaching out to others. And that's how I got stuck in. People reached out, and now it's my turn, and hopefully we'll find more.
Nice. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.